Hello and welcome to a new video. It's been a while since I've posted anything and I'm really sorry about that, but I've been very busy. So one of the things that I've been busy with is setting up a new garage and getting electricity and lights and everything in there and getting tools and everything set up in there so I can work properly without just carrying stuff from place to place or working in a basement room, just overall getting work done a lot better now. It's still not quite 100% finished, but it's definitely in a usable state. So I hope that from now on there's going to be a couple more updates and that it's going to be quicker videos again maybe. I'm not very good at keeping to any kind of schedule with this kind of thing. Making videos is a lot of effort and you don't really see how much work goes into cutting and recording everything, and the actual work that I do on the bikes also it doesn't really show how much work I put into that. It's just a couple of minutes when in real life it's a couple of hours. So I hope that I manage to do things more consistently now. But onto the video and onto what today is about. Today's video is about fixing the bike that you see me riding on right now, which is my dad's Suzuki SV650, and it's from 1999. Unfortunately, sometime after this video my dad crashed the bike, and he's fine and the bike is mostly fine, but it has a bit of cosmetic damage on the fairings in the front. And this video is all about replacing those parts and fixing everything back together. Alright, let's have a look at what we're dealing with here. You can see for the way back after the crash, the bike's just been fixed with a lot of duct tape, and that's it. The shifter has been a little bit bent and the clutch lever is a little bit bent. Aside from that, it's mostly just broken plastics and a broken headlight. You can't really see it from this perspective, but when I take it apart later on you'll see what kind of damage there is underneath everything. So with this, all of the broken parts are removed, and now it's time to put it back together. We have some used parts here that are just replacing the old ones, and they are in pretty decent shape. Unfortunately, one of the things that I didn't see at first is that the metal part that holds the fairing pieces is bent on the used one as well. But it's something that is fixable, and you will see me bend it back into shape until everything fits back together like it would normally in a bit here. What also got bent in the accident are those little brackets that help locate and fix the side pieces of the fairing and give them a bit of stability. The one that's a bit more difficult to bend back is the one up front that you can see me check out here. It does have a little nose in between that goes up into a hole that's in the frame for it, so it's located properly. But to see how it's bent and how I need to bend it back, the best way to do it is just to put on the side piece, check whether the holes line up, and then redo and redo and redo. I've also loosened the tank a little bit to give a bit more space and to have a look at things, just so I can assess the damage a little bit better. But in the end, I end up just using some pliers and just adjusting, checking, adjusting and checking, and that's it. And now that I've put almost everything back together, comes that fateful moment where I realize that the upper right bracket where the rear mirror goes is bent on this new bracket holder as well. So I've put everything together and I just want to fill in the last bolts and put in the mirrors, and then I realize that I have to go and take everything apart again just to be able to bend this back properly. And to make sure I get the right angle, because the left side is working quite well and everything looks fine, I made a little bit of a template out of cardboard so I could just compare both sides. It worked quite well, but I had to do the final adjustment on the bike again, so I had to just put it on, adjust it a little and take it off again, and then finally I will put on some paint so that the bracket looks fine again. And then only after I've done everything twice or maybe even 3 times, I'm able to finally put the bike back together. And just like that, it's finished. What should have been a job that would take an hour at most was something that turned out to take half the day or maybe more, just because I had to adjust things so much and take things apart and put it back together and take it apart again. But now at the end I've got a lot of broken parts that I've taken off, and I've got a bike that looks like a bike again. This bike is in pretty decent shape, considering that it's got 90,000 kilometers on it. The SV650 itself is just really beautiful bike, and it's a nice ride, and I think it still looks really good even though it's this old. So I hope you enjoyed me taking you along with what should have been a minor repair job and turned out to be something that took a lot longer than it should have been. I enjoyed wrenching on this bike nevertheless, and I do enjoy this bike as well. I ride it from time to time and it's really beautiful. And I hope that you will just join me in future videos and future projects again. After this, I think there will be some updates to the Ducati, and I still have something coming for my Triumph as well. Thank you very much for watching. I hope I can get another video done for you soon. Until then, see you and have a good time.